Imagine discovering the secrets to the world of antiquities buried at the bottom of the Nile for over 3,000 years. And our story starts with an amazing find just south of Aswan. So, what were these scientists finding in the riverbeds, and why were these treasures down there? Join us as we dive into the mystery of the rock carvings of ancient Egyptian pharaohs submerged in the Nile. Number 1. The discovery. An Egyptian-French archaeological team has discovered submerged ancient rock engravings of powerful Egyptian pharaohs embellished with hieroglyphic inscriptions from the River Nile near Aswan, Egypt. Dating back to the Middle Kingdom, the inscriptions were submerged after the construction of the Aswan High Dam between 1960 and 1970. The team was determined, however, to unveil and record these underwater treasures. The team plunged deep into the waters, revealing carvings of pharaohs from the 18th to the 26th dynasties, definitely a wide period in ancient Egypt's history. Among the rulers identified are the illustrious Amenhotep III, the mighty Thutmose IV, the strategic Psamtik II, and the formidable Apries. To the researchers' amazement, the carvings were incredibly well preserved, offering a stunning glimpse into Egypt's rich history and highlighting Aswan's historical significance. This exciting discovery had generated a buzz in the international archaeological community, the fresh wave of enthusiasm to learn more about the ancient pharaohs and their artistic achievements. It offers, then, brighter horizons for the future of Egyptology, with all the potential for startling new finds to deepen our understanding of one of the world's most fascinating civilizations. Number 2. Aswan's history. Aswan was an essential city in ancient Egypt, located to the south and many times serving as a border of the country. The city has played an important role in many aspects of its civilization. The granite quarries at Aswan are the pride and backbone of the city. Good quality stone from these quarries was used in constructing most of the country's most renowned monuments, such as obelisks, statues, temples, and so on. That made the big buildings which awe us up to this day. But Aswan was not just about its quarries. It represented an important military and trading center. Located close to the southern border, it often served as a garrison town to ensure the protection of the frontiers of Egypt. The Nile passing through made it a busy place for trade that connects Egypt with its neighbors from the south. In addition, Aswan was the location of significant religious constructions such as the temple complex at Philae, dedicated to Isis the goddess. That is why Aswan was an extremely important site in terms of culture and spirituality within ancient Egyptian life. Number 3. The Aswan High Dam. Building the Aswan High Dam between 1960 and 1970 was an immense task that certainly changed the topography and archaeological wealth of the region forever, representing one of the largest embankment dams in the world. Its basic objective was to regulate the flows and floods of the River Nile. The advantages were apparent: improved irrigation facilities, great power harnessed for electricity production, and thus development. But then, all this came at great costs, and in creating the huge reservoir of Lake Nasser, endless archaeological sites and treasures could not be moved before they were submerged forever. This submerged area would now act as a safe deposit of ancient treasures kept there until today. Knowing that time was slipping away, the world of archaeology was mobilized in a desperate, heroic attempt to save as much of this heritage as possible. This salvage operation became one of the biggest in the history of archaeology, an urgent mission in a race against time to save what was left of a civilization whose relics lay strewn across the banks of the Nile. Number 4. UNESCO's salvage campaign. Long before the rising of the waters behind the Aswan High Dam, UNESCO was organizing a magnificent mission to rescue the archaeological patrimony of the area. This project, known as the Nubian Salvage Campaign, went on to become one of the most extensive salvage missions ever undertaken in the history of archaeology. The floodwaters stimulated the international community, and both archaeologists and experts from various fields began to take part in this expedition. In response, the campaign focused on documenting, excavating, and physically relocating vital monuments and artifacts to safer grounds, an effort marked by remarkable achievements. One of the most extraordinary accomplishments was of the Abu Simbel temples. These structures of Egypt's cultural heritage were carefully cut into large blocks and transported to a new site above the floodline, a marvel of modern engineering and preservation. This amazing achievement became one of history's most celebrated archaeological missions. In addition to saving well-known monuments, the campaign revealed and documented several previously unknown sites and artifacts, including ancient settlements and religious structures, significantly increasing our understanding of Nubian and Egyptian civilizations. Unfortunately, several valuables were lost to the rising floods despite all attempts due to the difficulties of the undertaking. All the same, the Nubian Salvage Campaign is a monument to human ingenuity and commitment to maintaining our history. Number 5. The Underwater Archaeological Team. French and Egyptian scientists worked together to discover the old pharaonic rock engravings during an underwater trip. The team consisted of archaeologists and divers. To facilitate this, the French mission invited experts of the Supreme Council of Antiquities because they are well versed with the great history of Egypt. The head of the French party was Dr. Chris Crasillon, a specialist in underwater archaeology and documentation, affiliated with Paul Valéry University in Montpellier. What were they attempting to achieve? Investigate and record the archaeological finds concealed behind the Aswan High Dam's floodwaters. Diving to extreme depths, where these ancient engravings had been submerged for decades, was necessary to complete this work. The team's work demanded not only archaeological skill, but also high-level diving techniques. The team had high-resolution underwater cameras, lighting systems, and specialized tools for cleaning and examination. They would document every single one of their findings. Their commitment turned a difficult underwater challenge into a historical moment, shedding new light on the secrets of Egypt's past. Number 6. Methodology of the expedition. A technological miracle was the underwater archaeological excavation near Aswan. Utilizing an array of state-of-the-art methods, the team preserved ancient history by studying and recording the submerged rock sculptures. They used underwater photography and videography using specialized cameras designed to work deep underwater. The team succeeded in getting some amazing close-ups of the carvings. These images aided in the creation of thorough result reports and were crucial to the analysis process. Photogrammetry really caught our attention. By taking several pictures of the stonework from various angles and using sophisticated software to process them, this creative method produces very identical 3D digital models. Photogrammetry allowed the team to record every aspect of the engravings. These three-dimensional renderings not only allowed for flawless digital reproductions of every relic, but also allowed for close examination and analysis of each one without requiring additional dives. By using these methods, the team was able to save Aswan's ancient history and conserve them for future generations to study. Number 7. Carvings of Amenhotep III. Amenhotep III governed Egypt from about 1390 to 1352 BCE, and his engravings were among the most exciting finds of the undersea expedition. Historians find these carvings especially interesting because of the extraordinary prosperity and creative accomplishments that characterized his reign. These underwater artifacts depict the pharaoh in various regal poses, honoring his might and heavenly rank. Amenhotep III was renowned for both his diplomatic triumphs and his enormous architectural projects, which included parts of both the Luxor Temple and his spectacular funeral temple. These engravings near Aswan indicate that his influence and memorials went further south than previously believed. The inscriptions on the carvings, despite considerable erosion, provide fascinating perspectives about Amenhotep's official discourse and highlight the magnitude and grandeur of his legacy. Number 8. Carvings of Thutmose IV. Intriguing sculptures of Thutmose IV, the ruler of Egypt from approximately 1400 to 1390 BCE, were also discovered by the expedition. Despite being relatively brief, his rule was notable for important developments in Egyptian history. Probably the most well-known artifact belonging to Thutmose IV is known as the Dream Stele, that describes how he was chosen by God to become pharaoh. The underwater sculptures provide an uncommon and captivating look at ways Thutmose IV was portrayed in the southern regions of his realm. The pharaoh is depicted in the carvings in conventional positions of authority, presumably from the early periods of his rule, during which he began to establish his authority. The position of these engravings is what makes them more fascinating. Aswan, located on Egypt's southern border, was essential for establishing royal authority. Thutmose IV was determined to make a lasting impression on this strategically significant area, as seen by the presence of his carvings here. Accompanying hieroglyphs suggest military or diplomatic activity in the region, although being partially veiled by millennia underwater. These results are forcing scholars to re-evaluate the scope of Thutmose IV's actions and influence in Upper Egypt and Nubia, which could change our perception of his rule and its effects on Egyptian-Nubian relations. Number 9. Carvings of Psamtik II. The unexpected discovery of carvings depicting Psamtik II, who ruled Egypt from approximately 595 to 589 BCE, thrilled archaeologists. Psamtik II, a pharaoh of the 26th dynasty during Egypt's late period, reigned at a time when Egypt was striving to maintain its independence against powerful neighbors. These engravings, discovered close to Aswan, are especially noteworthy since they offer hard proof of Psamtik II's actions in Upper Egypt, an area where his existence was previously less well documented. The engravings depict Psamtik II in traditional pharaonic garb, emphasizing his status as Egypt's legitimate ruler. The rather worn inscriptions that accompany it refer to building projects or military activities, which is in line with historical narratives that Psamtik II set out for Nubia early in his reign. The 26th dynasty's military and political reach is being re-evaluated in light of these discoveries, which show that Egyptian pharaohs continued actively projecting their influence to the southern boundaries of their domain, even during this late period. Number 10. Carvings of Apries. Engravings of Pharaoh Apries, who ruled over the Egyptians during the 26th dynasty from 589 to 570 BCE, were also found by the underwater expedition. Apries, whose Greek name is Hophra, was a prominent biblical icon's contemporaries, who had a significant influence on geopolitics in his day. The engravings depict Apries wearing conventional pharaonic garb, emphasizing the divine right to govern. The fact that these engravings are in Aswan and not in the Delta area, which Apries predominantly governed, is what makes them so remarkable. These engravings provide important new insights into Apries' attempts to project authority and legitimize his reign at a period when Egypt was under intense external pressure, especially from the expanding Babylonian Empire. Number 11. The art of hieroglyphics. In addition to showing pharaohs, the rock carvings found close to Aswan also contain hieroglyphic writings that provide a wealth of data for scholars. Grasp Egypt's cultural and historical significance requires a grasp of Egyptian hieroglyphic, a system of writing that was in use for more than 3,000 years throughout the nation. The inscriptions that go with these pharaonic statues show interesting background details about the events or objectives that the artwork is intended to honor. Experts are actively studying these hieroglyphs in the hopes of learning more about the ancient significance that surrounds the Aswan region, as well as the reigns of the pharaohs that are represented. Number 12. Collaboration with local communities. The effectiveness of all the efforts depends on the collaboration and support of the local people. In order to ensure the success of the project, the research team has been collaborating actively with the local people and administration of Aswan. By fostering positive relationships with the local community, the team is assisting in the conservation and preservation of the findings. This collaborative approach raises awareness of the need of safeguarding cultural treasures and encourages local participation in conservation efforts. Number 13. Preservation of the carvings. These historic submerged works of art pose special difficulties. These historic artifacts, in contrast to those discovered on land, have been buried for many years and are vulnerable to water erosion and mildew. These relics are now submerged, thus the archaeological crew is continuously recording and safeguarding them. All immediate efforts are focused on carefully cleaning and conserving the carvings in order to prevent further degradation. Long-term preservation strategies are being developed by conservation experts working together. These might entail moving significant parts to land or using specialized underwater equipment to stop more water corrosion to the items. Additionally, to protect the sculptures, the researchers are thinking of constructing underwater boxes to keep track of the sculpture's condition over time and ensure that they are preserved for future generations. Regular diving trips will be conducted. Number 14. The role of technology in archaeology. The Aswan research emphasizes how important modern technology is to archaeologists. The researchers used a number of advanced instruments in beside photogrammetry to further their analysis. High-definition camera-equipped underwater robots surveyed potential sites and performed a quick site inspection. These remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, allowed the team to explore areas which human explorers would find too dangerous or difficult to easily access. In order to produce comprehensive maps of the bottom landscape to aid in the identification of possible locations of interest prior to the divers entering the water, advanced sonar equipment was also employed. This improved the excursion's effectiveness and the safety for the diving crew. In order to evaluate the massive amount of collected visual data, researchers used machine learning and artificial intelligence. This helped create correlations in the inscriptions and engravings which the human eye would miss can be uncovered, which might lead to the discovery of previously undisclosed information. The Aswan Deep Sea mission is transforming archaeological beliefs by bringing the lost history of ancient societies to light with clarity using new technology. Number 15. The granite quarries of Aswan. When the area's well-known granite quarries are taken into consideration, the underwater engravings close to Aswan become even more significant. Because Aswan was well known for producing fine granite all through ancient Egyptian history. These granites were utilized to construct many of Egypt's most famous structures. These sculptures were found close to the quarries, which implies a clear connection between the area's economic significance and its use in royal publicity and remembrance. Granite from Aswan's quarries was used in Egypt's obelisks, sculptures, and architectural components. These enormous stone blocks required extraordinary engineering to quarry and transport, as several tomb murals and reliefs illustrate. Researchers are examining many of the hieroglyphs that were discovered to see whether they make any mention of stone transportation or quarrying techniques. These discoveries can show the manner in which pharaohs celebrated their wealth and authority. It can also highlight the link connecting Aswan's economic success and its religious and political significance. Number 16. Abu Simbel and Philae temples. The underwater finds near Aswan become much more relevant when seen in the context of the famed temples of Philae and Abu Simbel in the neighborhood. Abu Simbel is a monument to the magnificence of pharaonic architecture and the strength of the pharaohs, adorned with enormous sculptures of Ramesses II. These temples, which were once set into a hillside, were notably moved in the 1960s to protect them from Lake Nasser's increasing waters. The recently found underwater engravings could give light on the larger background of the area's massive construction. Devoted to the goddess Isis, the temple complex known as Philae, or the Pearl of Egypt, like Abu Simbel, it was moved to a higher position during the construction of the Aswan High Dam. One of the temple's most notable hieroglyphic inscriptions is the last known inscription in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, dating to 394 AD. There are also the magnificent temples of Abu Simbel and Philae. These are precious artifacts that needed a lot of work to be done on them for their conservation. They give more complete insight into the cultural and religious background of the area and explain how all these amazing constructions fit into the big picture of ancient Egypt. Number 17. Challenges of underwater archaeology. The Aswan mission is an example of some of the specific challenges experienced by underwater archaeologists. In many cases, visibility is hampered because silt and detritus are easily disturbed, and cloud features. Considering the restrictions placed upon air supply and physical exertion in working underwater, divers perform at a high level of efficiency. Preparation and equipment are specifically designed for the task because pressure at depth can also have implications for human physiology and equipment performance. Another serious challenge is the effects of water on archaeological remains. The constant exposure makes inscriptions and sculptures deteriorate. One form of biological growth is algae that may alter the features and even damage the artifacts. The fast currents as well are harmful to the team, that can make delicate work a dangerous and very difficult thing to do. Notwithstanding these challenges, studying sites and artifacts that have been shielded from many of the elements that cause degradation at land-based sites, such as weathering and human interference, offers a rare opportunity for underwater archaeology research. Archaeologists can find well-preserved artifacts and learn new things about past civilizations because the underwater environment maintains materials in a manner that terrestrial environments frequently cannot. Number 18. Insights from the carvings. The rock engravings, which are discovered near to Aswan, provide a fascinating window into the lives of several important pharaohs of ancient Egypt. Each sculpture tells a story about power, dedication, and heritage, and is more than just an artistic work. It is literally history embedded in stone. Together, these sculptures paint a vivid picture of the pharaohs' reigns and provide important insights into their religious views, leadership styles, and contributions to Egypt's lasting legacy. Number 19. Future prospects. Future archaeological research in the area has received greater prospects after the successful Aswan underwater expedition. The fine sculptures discovered reveal that many more treasures may still lie beneath the waters of Lake Nasser. Full research is already under consideration in such underwater zones, striving to draw a precise vision of the aquatic world with the help of the latest technologies in remote sensing. The same or closely related underwater archaeological methods are now being increasingly used to explore the other submerged sites located at intervals along the banks of the River Nile. The Aswan expedition has paved the way for a new era of underwater exploration, promising to reveal even more secrets of our ancient past. Number 20. The legacy of ancient Egypt. These underwater sculptures found near Aswan serve as a powerful reminder of the enduring influence of ancient Egyptian culture. Even after being submerged for decades and thousands of years, these artifacts continue to unveil new details about Egypt's captivating history. The engravings showcase the pharaohs' far-reaching influence, extending their authority and propaganda beyond their kingdom's borders. The importance of further study about the ancient Egyptians in the modern world is underlined by this new finding. Every discovery has the potential to reshape our understanding of that civilization, not only its past, but also its artistic achievements. The collaboration of French and Egyptian experts on this mission shows the interest in the saving and discovery of our common heritage by every person across the globe. The heritage of ancient Egypt is evolving due to research of these underwater inscriptions and other discoveries, which can bring a new perspective to one of the most intriguing civilizations in human history. Successive efforts have inspired future generations of archaeologists and historians, thereby ensuring that the story of ancient Egypt will always be captivating and compelling. Do you think there's more to be found underwater? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe.